What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Not Dead Podcast. I am your host, WrestleMania, along with my co-host, Mr. Dustin. Dustin, how you doing, brother?
Good, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm chilling like a villain, man. Uh,
Eating orange pillings.
there you go. There you go. Hey, I hope y'all like our new kind of theme song there. Uh, that is just the instrumental from The Rock's new song, Face Off, which I recommend everybody go check out. Dustin and I talked about it last week, so I love that song, man. Um, Dustin, speaking of a week, man, what a hell of a week it's been for the both of us. But how was your week? Let's start with you.
Well, that's been pretty decent. Good ending to it, I guess. Because here we are.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Uh, well, my week wasn't so great. Last Friday, I was helping my dad put up some shelves in the garage, and he had me get up on the ladder. I wasn't actually doing any hammering or nailing or anything, but he had me get up on the ladder and uh, and like hold the tape measure, right? And so I said, okay, cool. So I get up there. I did it that morning with no problems whatsoever, right? And then my mom came home, and my mom didn't come home, but my mom, she helped my dad for the rest of the day. And then she went and took a nap because she wasn't feeling good. And so while she took a nap, I ended up having to help my dad a little bit more. And so I got on that ladder once again, and he actually asked me to rotate my body on the ladder, which I did that morning with no issues, right? So I do it again, but this time the fucking ladder decides I'm just gonna fall, and so the ladder and I fell, and long story short, my ankle's broken.
So you're not good at ladder matches.
No, but thankfully there was no tables match, so the jury's still out on that. Um, But yeah, I it's funny because I fell, and the first thing that went in my mind was, "Oh God, I'm in trouble. I was supposed to help, and I'm in trouble now, right?" And my dad came up. I'm like, "I'm sorry, Dad," and I'm really sorry I fell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's like, "Oh no, Chris, I'm sorry." And we both beat ourselves up about that. He beat himself up because he couldn't get to the ladder in time to stop it from falling. I felt like I let him down because I fell while trying to help him, and it was just one of those freak accidents. And yeah, but my dad. It's funny because my dad thought I was drunk. I was sober, right? I was sober, but he tried. I tried to stand up or whatever, and I fell down immediately. And my dad thought I was drunk, but my mom, she's like, I don't smell any alcohol on him, and I don't smell any alcohol in his room. I don't think he's drunk, and I wasn't, so that was a good thing. Um, Sorry, that's my mom texting me about food. Um, Jax, stop pushing my ankle, you fucking dick. Sorry about that. My dog is pushing at my broken ankle, and it's not feeling too great. Uh, but hey, enough about me and enough about my broken ankle and about my dog. Uh, let's go ahead and talk about why we are really here, Dustin. Today, we're gonna cover WrestleMania 19, which took place on, as I get the date up here, it took place March 30th, 2003, at Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. And Dustin, what do you remember about the show, man? Before we get into it, any
I
memories?
remember it was a decent one. It was it was action packed from start to finish.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
it was very action packed. Yeah, star studded. Also, I mean,
Oh
think
yeah.
about the names that were on this show: The Rock, Stone Cold, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Triple H, Hulk Hogan. I mean, and then you had the future. of the business, which was like Jericho and
The five
Booker
time, five time, five time.
Booker T. Yeah, oh, we're gonna get into Booker T. Oh, we're gonna get into Booker T and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, before WrestleMania, there was a heat. There was a Sunday Night Heat before, uh, which featured a Raw Tag Team Title match. So the World Tag Team Title match, I should say. It was Lance Storm and Chief Morley who was subbing for William Regal, defeating the what? Okay, so according to these results, maybe you can help me make sense of this, Dustin. But according to these results, it says WWE Raw Tag Team Champions Lance Storm and Chief Morley subbing for William Regal with the Dudley Boys defeated Rob Van Dam and Kane in 10 minutes when Storm pinned RVD after the Dudley Boys interfered and hit 3D on Storm with Bubba Ray then hitting an elbow drop on RVD. Wait, what?
Yeah, you got me on that one. I'd have to say I did not see that show.
Okay, well, that was Sunday Night Heat, I guess. Uh, Nunzio lured also on Sunday Night Heat, like this is memorable. Uh, Nunzio lured Nathan Jones into the locker room where Nathan Jones was assaulted by the Big Show and Albert. And it also featured John Cena cutting a promo on Jay Z and Fabulous.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was when one of Undertaker's streak was still going. That's one of the. I believe this is the only match that was actually at a WrestleMania that was a tag team involving
Undertaker.
the Undertaker and his streak.
It might have been, yes. Yeah. But hey, John Cena cut a promo. He did a rap on Jay Z and Fabulous. I think if I remember correctly, Jay Z and Fabulous were supposed to do something with John Cena at this event, but then they pulled out last minute.
Yeah,
Um,
the big musical act was Limp Bizkit. They were doing the Undertaker's entrance because he was doing the American Badass with the Keep Rolling.
and they did the theme song for WrestleMania 19, which was Crack Addict.
Yes.
Imagine that sales pitch to Vince McMahon just for a second, Dustin. Imagine.
Hey,
So, hey,
hey,
Vince,
Vince, we got a good song. It's called Crackhead. That's some
we
good
got a
shit.
great WrestleMania 19 theme song. We got a great song for it. Oh, yeah? What's it called, pal? Crack Addict. What? Crack
That's some
Addict?
good shit.
That's good. That's such good shit. Yeah. And then he hears it, and he's like, we need more Crack Addict.
That's
Uh,
it.
I could just, oh, God, that whole. God, that needs to be a skit at some point. Just Vince, we got a great idea for the theme song for WrestleMania 19. Oh yeah, what is it, pal? America the Beautiful? No. God Bless the USA? No. Crack Addict by Limp Bizkit. Crack Addict? What the hell is a Crack Addict? It's a song by Limp Bizkit. Why would
That's
it?
such good shit.
Hang on. Why would anybody want a song sung by a limp food choice? I don't know. I'm sorry. We're trying to be
Yeah,
funny.
I would have wanted to sit in on that meeting when they pitched it to him.
Facts. That meeting probably was very entertaining. Um, so you were talking about musical acts, and it's funny because now we get into the opening of the show. Uh, Ashanti opened the show. I don't know if you remember Ashanti or not. She was a
Yeah,
thing for about 15 minutes. She was in a movie called John Tucker Must Die, I do believe, which was not a bad film. Um, yeah. John Tucker Must Die. I recommend you go watch it. It's like one of those cheesy teen flicks, and it came out right when I was a teen, so right up my alley there. But yeah, she sang "America the Beautiful," or she sang our national anthem, I should say, to begin the show. Uh, for the commentary teams, Raw had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, and SmackDown had Michael Cole and Taz. And uh, Limp Bizkit performed Crack Addict, and uh, uh, Undertaker's theme song live. So there you go. Also, we had oh god. I think you know where I'm going with this. A pillow cat fight with the Miller Lite Catfight Girls, aka
Yeah,
Tanya Ballinger and Katana Baker.
yeah. Thanks to
Uh,
the Super Bowl commercials, the Miller Lite Catfight Girls.
uh, and they fought, quote unquote, Stacy Keebler and Tori Wilson.
But you got to keep in mind though, this is right around the time too that they were very, very sexualizing the women in the wrestling. They were getting towards the end of it, but they were all in on this one.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. Well, maybe I was at 10 years old. I don't remember. Why can't I go live? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm sure. I got food on the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm a little distracted. I'm having McDonald's for lunch. So thank goodness for delivery. Anyway, back to the show. So you had the Moonlight Catfight Girls, uh, and the opening match was. Did I get the attendance? I don't think I
Yeah,
gave the attendance. 54,097 people showed up, and 52,000 people paid to watch it on pay per view. That can't be right. Okay, whoever has these stats and figures, let me go to the Wikipedia page. Whoever has
the
those other
attendance was
results, those
54,097,
yeah, whoever did that, that can't be. Okay,
and
so
the buy rates was 560,000.
the Dudley Boys, so I guess the Dudley Boys were in the corner of Chief Morley and Lance Storm on Heat, but they turned on them. The Dudleys turned on Morley and Storm to help. Okay, or they turned on them after the match. Um, but back to the attendance figures. Um, it
Mom or mom?
so the attendance was 54,097 people. The buy rate, so the pay per view buys, was 560,000 people. So that's quite a number of pay per view buys in 2003.
Yeah, that was right around that time. They were picking up a lot of steam too, because you got to figure they were the only wrestling at that point too.
Well, TNA was a thing in '03, but it wasn't what it would become.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nothing that would entice anybody from turning away from WWE.
Yeah. Yeah. And the tagline, this WrestleMania 19 had a tagline, Dare to Dream. Uh, so there we go. To kick off WrestleMania 19, after all the songs, um, Matt Hardy with Shannon Moore defeated Rey Mysterio to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. Why did they not let Matt Hardy? Uh, why did they not let Rey Mysterio lose this matchup here, Dustin?
Why did they not let him?
Yeah, they didn't. They did not let Rey win the match.
Well, that was they were pretty high on Matt Hardy at the time, and that was when he was going through the whole Edge thing because he just broke out on his own. Matt Hardy did.
Yeah, um, yeah. I think that they should have let Rey Mysterio win the Cruiserweight Championship here. That it's WrestleMania. They should have let the babyface go over.
In a way, yeah, but too, you got to look at it. I mean, it was 2003. It was shortly after the acquisition of WCW. So Rey Mysterio was a WCW guy still, or was at that point. So it's kind of a Vince McMahon was still kind of going over the WCW guys.
Do you? So you don't think that they should have let Ray win here because he was a WCW guy?
Well, I'm not saying I don't think they should have let him win. I'm saying that's probably part of the mindset because you got to understand Vince was still because he didn't get the wrestlers that he thought he was getting when he got WCW.
Ah, well, we're gonna get into the WCW talk in just a minute with the Booker T Triple H situation. Where's the straw? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the noise. I just got some lunch over here at McDonald's. So as I'm opening this all up right now, um,
Not a paid advertisement.
hey, you know what, man? Not a paid advertisement, but if McDonald's wants to pay me to or pay us to advertise, I'm with it. Uh, I got their chicken nuggets, which is my favorite thing to eat from McDonald's, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. But match number 2 on the WrestleMania card, Undertaker beat Big Show in the A-Train. This was supposed to be a tag match, but Nathan Jones got taken out on Sunday Night Heat by
But he did make a
Nunzio
return near
and
the
the
end.
FBI. I'm sorry?
He did make a return near the end and kind of helped.
Yeah, he did make a return near the end, but Undertaker did the brunt of the match. He did the brunt of the work.
And I'll say that match, I remember I watched it not too long ago, and that one kind of stuck. I mean that was a pretty decent handicap match, if you want to call it that, for the time it was. Undertaker did great. Big Show and A Train they did awesome. I mean it was a really good match, I think, and they for what it was, I guess you could say it turned out really decent.
Yeah, I think the reason that they took Nathan Jones out of the match, for the most part, was because they thought he wasn't ready to be a part of that sort of big match. So let him come in, hit his moves, and then go home.
Yeah, they had
Um,
to find something to kind of keep him occupied instead of just having him standing on the apron.
yeah. Match number 3, which was on the match number 3 on the WrestleMania card, Trish Stratus defeated Victoria and Jazz. And I'm not going to lie to you, I've watched this match about a dozen times, and I like it every single time. It was a great triple threat match.
Yeah, for the women's match.
Trish was a great babyface, was she not?
Yeah, she was. I would say she was more or less the face of the women's division at that time as well.
Oh, yeah. Her or
And she also tied the Fabulous Moolah for a record of title reigns at 4
and then
with
she
that
broke
win.
that. And then she broke that when she became. I think she's a 7-time women's champion.
Yeah. Later on, she broke it, but this was the tying moment.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention. I remember watching this pay per view. This is one of the very first pay per views I got to watch live. Um, and I remember I went to Jackson's Hole here in Colorado, and I watched it with my dad, and it was a great experience. This is one of the first pay per views I got to watch. I think the only other pay per view I got to watch live before this was the Royal Rumble 2003, which Brock Lesnar won. Um, and so just a little tidbit for you. But yeah, like I said, I like this triple threat match. I watch it every now and again because it's just one of those matches that you can go back and watch over and over.
Yeah,
Victoria was a
it was a
great
really good
psycho.
match.
Victoria was a great psycho.
Yeah.
She was great as a psycho. And then Jazz was just this unbeatable bitch. I mean, it
Well, don't
was
forget Victoria was in that Right to Censor too.
Victoria. I think you're thinking Ivory.
Or yeah, that's right.
Ivory was right to censor. Yes, yes. Um, the next match was Team Angle, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin beating Chris Benoit and Rhino and the Los Guerreros to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships.
followed by
Uh,
another great. This was another great match
well,
to close. I
yeah,
mean,
you had
anytime
Benoit.
you say what you want about what Benoit did in his personal life, he was a great worker.
Oh, sure.
Um, put
Keeping
on
his,
great matches.
we'll keep his personal life out of this talk for the sake of keeping it about WrestleMania 19 because we can go off on all kinds of tangents about Benoit and his personal life all you want, but you can't deny a guy who's a great wrestler.
Yeah,
Um, and then you had Eddie Guerrero and Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and Chavo was underrated in my opinion. Everybody in this match was a great worker. There were no slubs. So of
yeah.
course
No,
this match.
all the competitors in that match. I mean, they made a really decent match out of it. And I'm not one for a bunch of triple threats and all that, but I think this one did a very good job of it.
And this was the second triple threat match of the night because the first one was the women's triple threat, and this was the second one.
Yes, and they were back to back.
Uh huh. There were a lot of matches on this card that could be considered a match of the night candidate. Not the least of which is our next match, Shawn Michaels defeating Chris Jericho. What a what a spectacular match and what a spectacular feud.
Yes, at that time Jericho, I think he was somewhat underrated at that point. And I think this kind of broke open a lot because Michaels was a good opponent for him at that time because Michaels was still a very good worker at that time as well.
Yeah,
And with both of them going,
Michael.
I mean
Well,
that was a solid match. I'd say that was probably top two, three matches of the night.
yeah. Uh, I was just gonna say, Shawn. This was Shawn Michaels' first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 14. Um,
Yes,
and he did not look like he missed a beat, like at all. And this was right after he got clean from all the drugs and alcohol, and yeah, he looked really good in this match. And this was probably one of the best Shawn Michaels matches uh, he's ever. This is one of the. Let me rephrase that. This is probably one of the best matches Shawn Michaels ever had.
yes, and with the finish being a roll up, a lot of people would have an issue with that. But
It
yeah,
made sense for the story
yeah,
because
and at
it
that
built up
point
to
too,
another
the
match.
finish really didn't do anything to change the story or the direction either.
Exactly. Oh, I can't wait to get into this one. Oh, I can't wait to get into this one. This next match. I think you
This
know
one's
where I'm
all you.
going. You're following, so I think you know where we're going here.
Yeah, this one's all you, and I'm gonna keep my comments to myself so we can keep the show on the
Oh
air.
no, no, no! I'm gonna let you give your comments. I'm gonna let you give your comments. Triple H defeating Booker T to retain the WC or to retain the World Heavyweight Championship, the former WCW Championship. I was about to say. Um, and man, there was a promo, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know what we're talking about, there was a promo by Triple H talking to Booker T, and I'm actually going to see if I can find that promo. Uh,
Well, I'm glad you skipped over the pillow fight match.
bro, the less that's said about that, the better. Quite
Yes, that's.
frankly,
I'm glad we jumped straight into this one because.
because I'm sorry, but if you want to talk about that, I guess we can.
No,
Uh,
not at all.
it's not really a match. It wasn't really anything.
No,
It was bullshit. It, it was bullshit for the. It was bullshit for the sake of bullshit.
but
Um,
think about it. This one made it onto the card, and the Lance Storm one didn't.
I'm trying to find a transcript. Um, okay, there we go.
And Ric Flair was in Triple H's corner in this match too. So what the dirtiest player of the game was in the match. Something.
So this is what Triple H said to Booker T. Um, he says, "quote I think you're a little bit confused about your role in life here. You're going to get to go to WrestleMania. But the fact is, Booker, somebody like you doesn't get to be a world champion. People like you don't deserve it. That's reserved for people like me. That's where the confusion is. You're not here to be a competitor, you're here to be an entertainer. That's what you do. You entertain people. Hell, you entertain me all the time. Go ahead, do a little dance for me. Go ahead, give me one of those spinneroonies. Entertain me. That's your job. Don't be embarrassed. You're here to make people like me laugh. With your nappy hair and your suckers. Hell, I was laughing all week long after you won that battle royal. Um, unquote. Yeah, there's no way in any realm of any earth that that's not a racist promo.
Well, yeah.
He said things people like you don't deserve it. Don't be embarrassed. You're here to make people like me. You're here to pay. You're here to make people like me laugh with your nappy hair and your suckers. That come on, man. That's racist.
Yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of ways you could have spun that, but yeah,
Well,
I mean,
here's how Bruce Pritchard spun it. He spun it as he spun it like people like you, meaning people from WCW, don't beat people like me from the WWE.
exactly.
That's that's one way to spin it, and I could see that spin.
I think that was the intention,
But
but
the
how it
nappy
came out, I could
hairline,
also see the
but
I
the
could see the
nappy
racial
hairline,
undertone.
we could have done without that nappy hairline. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that to me really sold the racist part of the promo.
yeah, and
And the
like
people
I said,
like you
it
and the
was
people like you part.
the bigger picture of it was supposed to be a dig at WCW, and when you have people that are able to pretty much have free reign, because don't keep in mind this was Triple H too, and he had free reign of
Um,
anything WWE at that time.
you know
And
what? I remember the Triple H Reign of Terror, and it sucked. It sucked hard. It was horrible. There were so many people sacrificed for that Reign of Terror, Dustin.
yes, yes.
RVD, Booker T, Goldberg, Steiner,
Well, I mean, that was the thing. That
HBK.
was, if you ask me, when they got the WCW wrestlers that were actually showing up, that was Vince McMahon's way of saying,
Well,
"Here's your golden shovel, Triple H. Do what you want with it." And he stopped. He didn't hold back any punches or anything. He was legitimately out there to bury every single WCW guy that came over.
yeah. Um, Booker should have won. Agreed.
Well, they weren't going to take a title off of Triple H that soon and
But
give it to a
do you
WCW guy.
think Booker should have won?
Well, I mean,
Not a matter of were they going to do it or not. Do you think he should have won?
no.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't quite think that. And see, when you're combining the WCW with where it was when they had got it, WCW was a joke. So when you put them against someone like Triple H, who was one of the faces of WWE at the time, it wouldn't have made sense to take the title off of Triple H and put it on Booker T right then. I mean, not saying that Booker T was never not deserving of his titles, but
Booker Booker should have won here because Number one, it was WrestleMania. Number two, fans love Booker T. He was over like Rover here at WrestleMania 19. The fans wanted Booker to win, and the only person that stopped him was Triple H, and that was messed up. And I'm sorry, you can say that Booker was a joke in WCW. Booker was in WCW until 2001. This is 2 years later, 2003, where he had proven himself to be a great performer under that WWE umbrella. So you take him out of that WCW frame and you put him in the WWE frame, and he still fits in with some of the best. He battled with the best. He battled The Rock. He battled Stone Cold. He battled The
Well, yeah,
Undertaker.
I'm not saying he wasn't one of the best or good at the time, but you got to look at the whole picture of it, and it wasn't the right time.
It wasn't the right time. Really?
Yeah.
I mm, I I disagree. I think at that point, yeah, you could have pulled the plug and you could have given Booker the championship at least for like a 2 or 3 pay-per-view reign.
Well, that was never going to happen at WrestleMania, being the granddaddy of them all. That was a
No, I'm
foregone
saying
conclusion.
You have Booker win WrestleMania 19. You have him with the world title, retain the championship at Backlash, maybe one other pay per view, and then a pay per view after that, you have him lose back to Triple H.
We have our differences. I'll say it that way.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm sorry, but I in my estimation, Booker should have won. Um, and there's no reason why he didn't, other than people didn't want him to win it. Uh, Next match, Hulk Hogan defeated Mr. McMahon in a street fight, with the stipulation being if Hulk Hogan lost, he would have had to retire. Hogan and retire in 2003. Think about that.
Yeah. He should have retired in '85, but
Facts. He should have retired after the NWO died. In WCW.
yeah, that's
This this match actually wasn't bad. This actually was a decent match.
that was where I mean that.
They took some serious bumps. McMahon took a bump off of the ladder and fell to the announce table.
Yeah, and that was they were in the church shot to the head heavens and everything, and all into the blood.
And they had the iconic shot of McMahon petering up from the floor of the apron, and you could see those eyes, those psychotic eyes, that iconic image. You know what I'm talking
Don't
about?
forget, we got to see Roddy Piper in there as well.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm gonna pull this look up for those of you who don't know. Because this is an iconic image. And if I can find a photo with it. Where is it? Okay, I guess I'm not going to be able to find it. Damn it. Folks, I was trying to find a photo of Vince McMahon with a crazed look in his eye at WrestleMania 19. But it doesn't appear that photo exists anymore. Um, yeah, nope. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, no, the match. You gotta see Piper. This was his return to the company, and then Piper. If you want to go into this for a second, Piper will go on to manage Sean O'Haire. What a pairing!
Yeah. At this point, like I said, they had free reign of everything. There was no competition.
Yeah. Yeah. Match number 9 in the card: The Rock defeating Stone Cold Steve Austin in their third WrestleMania match. The first WrestleMania match took place at WrestleMania 15 for the WWF Championship. The next match at WrestleMania was WrestleMania 17, once again for the WWF Championship. Both those times, Stone Cold beat The Rock, and at WrestleMania 17, Stone Cold turned heel. This was their third and final encounter, and The Rock was the bad guy heading into this match, with Stone Cold as the good guy, and there were no championships on the line. A match like this did not need a championship. This
No.
match was absolutely phenomenal.
Every one of the Rock's and Stone Cold matches were phenomenal.
Yes. Yes. And this one was no exception. Especially when you consider the night before. I don't know if you know this or not, Dustin. But the night before, Stone Cold was actually in the hospital.
Don't recall that one.
Yeah, so basically what happened was Stone Cold was at dinner that night with Kevin Nash, and he went back to his, or then he was headed back to his hotel room, and all of a sudden, he couldn't feel his hands anymore. Like, and then he couldn't move anymore. And he started to freak out, and it got to a point where Stone Cold, where officials had to come and check on Stone Cold, and they wound up taking him to the hospital. And this match almost did not happen.
Blame Kevin Nash for it, regardless of what happened.
Kevin Nash tore Stone Cold's quad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So when you consider that, and then he went out there and he was able to perform at the level that he did. That's nothing short of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I say, at that time, The Rock, Stone Cold, they wouldn't let anything stop them from putting on a show. And that's why I respect it so much that they were, you can't say enough about those two at that time in that frame of wrestling, that they were phenomenal, no matter what.
Yeah, and now The Rock is doing his thing in the acting world and now in the music world because he's got that rap song. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about that song. That is such a good song. It is such a good song. This sidebar here for a second. This guy I follow on YouTube, he did a video today or yesterday. Everything right with The Rock's verse, and apparently The Rock had 18 different rhyme schemes going on in his verse on that song. He's not a
Yeah, I mean,
rapper, and he had 18 different rhyme schemes going on.
I think John Cena taught him a lot.
Or Tech Nine.
Or John Cena. The
Boy,
Rock Cena, we'll call him.
you're not, wow. You, you think we'll see a battle of diss tracks between The Rock and John Cena?
That's secretly what I'm hoping for. So if you all could do me a favor and tag John Cena in everything that The Rock sings, I don't care what it is, just tag him, and vice versa, because that would be the ultimate ending to. That's how they should do. That's how they should end their
We
forever.
want beef! We want beef! We want
Exactly.
beef! Hey, if it's anything like those legendary promos that they had in 2011, I'm here for it. They called each other like Fruity Pebbles, Yabba Dabba Bitch.
Yes.
I mean, come on, those are made for diss tracks.
And there
You play,
was some
hey,
real animosity between them, and I think a lot of it too was played out. But
do you remember when he did the boots to asses thing was trending online on Twitter?
yes,
He mentioned the boots to asses in his rap verse.
but I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't mention where he had to have his promo wrote on his wrist.
Damn! Okay, you're not gonna give The Rock any credit for this, are you?
Probably not. Not until I get the rap disc. That's all I want.
One rap song, one rap diss song. That's all we need.
That's it.
That's
That's
all
all
we
it'll take.
need. Well, technically, John Cena did rap against The Rock and diss him.
Well, yes, but now that The Rock's rapping now too,
Oh, now we need a rebuttal.
yeah, we need a kill shot WWE style.
God. Hey, Rock's got a little bit ways to go before he's on Eminem's level. Uh, um, John Cena too. John Cena, don't get it twisted. John Cena's. I mean, I've listened to John Cena's rap songs, and I'm not saying that John Cena's not a good rapper, because he is. I like John Cena's music, but in a battle of The Rock versus John Cena in a rap battle, I would have to say,
We need
based
it.
on what I've heard, that The Rock is Eminem and John Cena is MGK.
Well, depending on what side of the fence you're standing on. Some people said MGK took Eminem. Some people said Eminem took. That's another story for another time.
Well, no, let's talk about it right here since we already mentioned it. Who do you think had the better diss track, Eminem or MGK?
MGK.
Really?
Yes.
MGK brought the fight to him, absolutely. He really the but the problem is he kept mentioning Haley.
Why not? I mean,
Well,
that's what it was over.
yeah, 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 but that's like a cheap way to get.
Hey, cheap is still getting it. I mean,
Cheap booze is still cheap booze. It'll still get you fucked up, right?
yeah, cheap booze is still booze.
Yeah. Um, for me, I mean, I like both of them. I liked them both, but I gotta give it to Eminem because
I
he
mean,
was
it
able
ain't
to
going to save
rebut.
it.
But the thing is, Eminem had, you know what? I'll give it to MGK actually because Eminem had a much easier time dissing because he was able to rebuttal everything MGK said. Whereas MGK had to come at him, he had nothing to really go on except for Twitter
Well,
and
yeah,
stuff. And
but
and all Eminem had to do was listen to MGK's diss track and say, "Okay, so this is what he said. I'm going to rebuttal this. I'm going to rebuttal this. I'm going to rebuttal this. My beard is weird. Okay, you know." What are you eating in the
yeah,
bowl? Yeah, yeah. I'll give it to MGK. His was much more
but
original.
if you also remember too, I mean, you could go either way. I mean, depending on how deep you want to dive into it. MGK shortly after quit doing a lot of rap
Yeah,
and
now he's
started doing a
doing.
different genre.
Yeah,
Whether
but then he
that
went.
was his way of exiting out of the rap game, so to speak, whatever have you. But I think if you just compare the diss track to diss track, personal opinion, I'd say MGK did it.
Yeah, now he went around and fucked with Slipknot.
Yeah.
Just MGK versus Slipknot.
What's his next battle going to be after this one? Taylor Swift. I mean,
Yo, hold on.
that's
Yo, hold on. Because if that's gonna be his next battle, he better watch out. Taylor Swift has some experience writing about exes.
see, that's probably going to be his downfall.
Dear MGK, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do on the show. We're just cracking jokes here. Um, but yeah, no, there's one battle, Dustin, that I actually, since we're talking about diss tracks, uh, there's one, and we'll get back into WrestleMania in just a moment. There's only one other match on the card. Uh, but there's one battle that I absolutely loved listening to. Well, two of them. But one of them, and I know you don't know these names, but you should check these diss tracks out. 100 Kufi versus Lucid. They are some of the best diss tracks. First of all, 100 Kufi, the guy that he was dissing was named Lucid, right?
Yeah.
So what he did was he made a T-shirt with the name Lucid, but he X'd out the D on Lucid, so he called him Lucy. So
Yeah.
he basically flipped the dude's gender,
Well, I mean,
calling him a bitch.
I mean,
And then he did
fire the cannons.
he did a song. He remixed Tupac's "Hit 'Em Up," and one of the disses that he said to Lucid was Mother should have swallowed you. Father not proud of you. Which I was like, ooh, that's not nice.
Yeah.
That was
Diss tracks aren't made to be nice.
nah, man, but damn, Mama should have swallowed you. And the way he says it, and then he goes, and then he says like, "Fuck a gun bar, trunks full of more gats." I mean, like gats, like gun, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you get it. And
Yep.
then I mean, the whole series was really, really solid. And then the other one was 6 Seconds versus Luke Gone. That was a really good one. And there was a really cool thing that 6 Seconds said where he goes, I want to rock like Uncle Luke. I'll rock you in your Uncle Luke. Son of this man all dressed in black. I am your father, not your Uncle Luke. Like,
Yeah.
did you get it? Son of this man dressed in black. I am your father, not your uncle.
Yeah.
The Darth Vader scheme. Yeah. He did that. And he did a whole Marvel scheme. It was really good. That was a really good diss track. I would recommend that one as well. Anyway, back to the WrestleMania 19 card. So we said that. So we're down to one last match here. Brock Lesnar beating Kurt Angle for the
Shooting
WWE
Star Press.
Championship. I'm sorry.
The Shooting Star Press.
Oh God, that looks so nasty. That Shooting Star Press just looked. Yeah, you could tell when he hit it, nobody was home.
No.
Nobody was home.
And some people say that he's the way he is today because of that still.
What, a dick?
They still say he's not all there upstairs anymore, that he got rid of everything that he had.
You know what? Let's be real. I don't think he ever was all the way upstairs.
No. But in the end, though, Brock Lesnar is, like Pat McAfee said, he's who we send when the aliens come out.
He's the one that's going to send those aliens to Suplex City.
That's right. One way or
Uh-huh.
another, I'm down for it.
Better him than us. Yeah. So that was WrestleMania 19, ladies and gentlemen. It was a great show. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I think it was solid from start to finish.
And again, I just want to reiterate the star power of this show. Brock
Yeah, oh,
Lesnar,
yeah.
Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Chris Jericho, the Dudley Boys, Kane. I mean, it was not a weak. This is probably one of the more underrated WrestleManias, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because at WrestleMania 20, there was still star power there, but it was only The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle and Goldberg and Brock. I mean, there was no. Undertaker was there at WrestleMania 22. But WrestleMania 19 just hit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, there's one thing I wanted to discuss with you, Dustin. We got plenty of time. At least I do. Are you good on time?
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
Okay. This past Wednesday, I don't know if you watched the show or not, but this past Wednesday, Chicago Fire celebrated its 200th episode. And they've been on the air for 10 years. This is their 10th season. And there's one guy that's always been on the show, and he was a great character, Matthew Casey, whom was played by Jesse Spencer. And this past Wednesday, it was his final episode um, on the show. He's leaving the series. He's going back home. He's from Australia or New Zealand or whatever the fuck. So he's going back home to deal with like a family problem, I guess. He wants to come back to the show. So at least he's not leaving on bad terms. But I mean, he was one of my favorite characters, Dustin. I don't know if you ever watched a TV show and you got so connected to like a character that like they left and you're like, well, fuck, now what's the show gonna look like?
Yeah, I mean, it changes the outlook of of how you have on that show.
Yeah, and he, like I said, he was like the main character for 10 years, and now you just take that character away. And they have other main characters. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he was at the forefront of the show. So, hey, I just wanted to say, I know he'll never watch our podcast, but if he ever does,
Yeah,
Jesse Spencer, thank you for 10 great years on that show, man. You were an awesome character, and Matthew Casey will be missed. But the way that they wrote him out was actually really well done, because the way that they wrote him out was so in the very first episode, the very first opening minutes of the whole series of Chicago Fire, Dustin, uh, uh, his character Matthew Casey, his character's squad, Matthew Casey's squad, uh, they respond to a house fire, and one of the other firefighters, he goes upstairs to look for people, and he doesn't get out of the fire in time, and he actually ends up getting engulfed in the flames. So he was burned alive right before Casey's eyes, right?
yeah.
And it's a horrible, traumatic experience. And he had kids. He had kids named Ben and Griffin, right? So now, fast forward all 10 years later, and and one of those kids comes to Casey and says, "Hey, I need your help. My brother's not doing well, and we're struggling, and we need your help." And so Casey goes to help him for a couple of weeks, and he comes back, and then he's like, "I gotta go adopt those kids. I gotta bring them here to Chicago." And so he tries to bring them to Chicago, but the social worker tells the guy, "Hey, no, you can't, because you can't do that because they've already found their roots here." And so Casey's got to make a decision: stay here, help the boys, or stay in Chicago and be a firefighter, or move to Oregon and help the boys. Well, he ends up helping the boys and moving to Oregon, and that's how they wrote him out of the story.
Yeah, I mean, so it leaves an opening for him to come back.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. And he, like I said, he's open to wanting to come, he's open to coming back. He wants to come back and stuff. So he didn't leave on bad terms or nothing. It wasn't like a fuck you situation. It was just, hey, um, I gotta go take care of something. And
Yeah.
hopefully I can come back for a few episodes. So at least it was a nice exit. But I just wanted to thank Jesse Spencer. If he ever listens to our podcast, like we'll ever be big enough for that. But I wanted to thank him for giving us 10 years, and also Chicago PD is doing really good this season. Um, they had they had a really good show, not this past Wednesday, but last Wednesday, which ended with Jay Halstead punching his boss, Hank Voigt, square in the face.
I mean, who hasn't had a boss they wanted to punch square in the face?
Well, so what happened was in last season's finale, um, Voight and another character, Upton, Haley Upton, they found. So this is really. You don't care about any of this, Dustin. So I'll try to be brief. Um, there was a character on Chicago PD named Kim Burgess, and in the season finale, she got kidnapped. In the season finale, Hank Voight and Haley Upton, they found her kidnapper, right? Well,
Yeah.
Haley ended up shooting the guy dead because he went for Hank's gun. So after that, she has nightmares and everything, and she can't sleep and anything. And so in last week's episode, um, she tells somebody that she's interviewing because he's a suspect. So she tells the suspect what this killer did, and he ends up killing himself because he couldn't live with knowing that information, right?
Yeah.
Well, he kills himself, and she has a panic attack. She has a panic attack, and so her fiance, Jay Halstead, he confronts Voight about it. He goes, "You know something," and Voight's like, "Yes, I do," and he goes, "You and Haley, did you kill this guy?" And Hank goes, "I didn't kill him. Haley did." And he goes, the guy reached for my gun, and Haley shot him. And that pissed off Hoss. Because you got to know the whole history of Hank Voight. He's a dirty guy.
Yeah.
He's a dirty cop, right? One of those guys. Um, Long story. You just watch the series and you'll understand everything. It'll all make sense if you watch it. Because I'm not doing it any justice. And I'm rambling right now, so let's get back on point. Um, Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to start doing something special for you folks. We're going to start diving in to a specific year. So you guys can let us know in the comments down below what year we should cover. Next week we're going to start off with the year I was born, 1993.
Good year.
What's up?
That was a good year for wrestling.
Yeah, and we're going to cover the big four pay-per-views of WCW and the WWF. So, 1993 was a pivotal year for both companies because that's about the time that change started coming to the wrestling. Any
Yep.
memories of '93, Dustin?
That was the first year that Monday Night Raw started.
Yeah,
I remember.
a
Let's date
month.
myself. I remember getting those Raws taped on VHS, and I'd watch them the next day.
Raw debuted a month before I was born.
Yeah, I remember those Raw shows very clearly. I regularly watched them.
Yeah, and then you could go on the WWE Network and watch them there. But yeah, so next week we're going to cover 1993, including the Raw, the debut episode of Raw, and all of the stuff that took place in '93 in professional wrestling. So definitely not going to want to miss that. Hey, if you're new to this channel, see that subscribe button? Click it. If it's red, click it so you're subscribed. Also, hit the notification bell. Excuse me, I almost choked. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when we upload new videos. We upload new videos weekly. Um, like the video if you haven't already liked it. Comment down below what year you think we should cover. Um, Also, comment down below your thoughts on WrestleMania 19. Who do you think won, MGK or Eminem? I think that's it, Dustin. I think we're out of time, man.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, be sure to subscribe, or else, Dustin.
Rikishi's going to give you a stink face.
Facts. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sabomania. He's Dustin. We're signing out. See ya.